Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to Slime Recap. Now, listen, I don't know if you are going to watch the complete video, but if you do, add a emoji with your comment so I know who my real friends are. Let's see who makes it to the very end. Alright, let's get into the recap. Imagine this. You and your classmate are slumped at your desks, waiting for the lecturer to arrive. But when the door opens, it's not your professor who enters. It's not even human, it's a demon. He begins to call the roll, but the process is far from ordinary. As each name is shouted, the student is instantly killed, their head bursting in a gruesome display. But here's the twist. You, the ordinary F-rank protagonist, suddenly manifests a unique ability, Deduce the Future. This power grants you a brief, limited experience of the next 10 minutes. Now, the survival of you and your classmate hinges completely on the choices you make.
You are watching Slime Recap.
Several years ago, another dimension began overlapping with the real world. Humans freaked out when they discovered that the weird creatures coming from it looked exactly like the ones from old horror stories and urban legends. These creatures were called demons, and the people who awakened powers to fight them were called hunters. The scene shifts to the present day in a quiet college town. A boy stands in front of a shop, coming to terms with the fact that none of that crazy stuff really matters to him since he hasn't awakened like a hunter yet. The shopkeeper auntie calls him Xiao and asks what he wants for breakfast, offering him an option between a bread or a crepe. Xiao, already overthinking life, says he wants bread. However, before the shopkeeper aunt can hand him bread, he immediately changes his mind and asks for a crepe instead. While he debates his choice, it hits him that even though another dimension overlaps with their world, gates rarely appear, and most people's lives go on as usual. He keeps staring at the bread and crepe, thinking that the world keeps turning no matter what, and maybe he should just pick one already. After a long inner struggle, he finally decides on the crepe. As he walks toward his college with breakfast in hand, he notices he's still living the same old life, plain and ordinary, just an F-tier guy among the awakened. When he enters the campus building, he glances at his other hand and finds a loaf of bread there too. Turns out his indecisiveness made him buy both anyway. Walking into the classroom, he quietly takes a seat at the back, ignoring everyone, the truth dawning on him that nothing's really changed, not the world, not his routine, and definitely not his social anxiety. As he sits down, Xiao glances at two girls chatting, while one of them compliments the other, saying her perfume smells amazing. He looks at the girl speaking and silently admits that, yep, his crush on Lin is still going strong. Love life? More like no life, he thinks. Man's got real feelings for that girl, but zero courage. A moment later, Lin looks back and greets him with a bright, "Good morning." Xiao instantly turns red like a traffic light and stammers a shy, "Good morning" back, quickly turning his face away. Bro's blushing like his crush just caught him watching adult videos. He stares at her for a moment, quickly understanding he's never even thought about confessing, not because he doesn't want to, but because he's never dared to act on impulse. Scratching the corner of his bench, he sighs and thinks that life would be easier if it worked, like buying breakfast. Just try everything when you don't know what to choose. Not to mention how he still remains indecisive while buying breakfast too. He then gazes out the window, quietly wishing he could live countless different lives and pick the best one in the end. Without warning, his thoughts break when something strange catches his eye outside. There's a gate forming right outside the classroom window. The air turns heavy as the other students notice it too, their faces pale with fear. A demon steps through the gate, followed by several smaller monsters flying in behind him. Xiao can't believe what he's seeing. The demon came straight into their class out of all other classes in the school. Without wasting a second, the demon announces that he's about to start a poll. Before anyone can react, he calls the first name, Tian. The girl sitting beside Lin trembles as she hears her name called. Before she can even beg for mercy, the demon releases a burst of dark energy, blowing apart her head instantly. The room falls silent. Lin stares in horror, it finally registering that no one in this class might survive. Just like her, Xiao is completely stunned and jumps up from his seat, scared out of his mind. His heart's doing a full drum solo, while the demon in front of them laughs like it's watching a comedy show. That monster looks around, clearly enjoying himself, thinking about who to target next. Bro's basically playing eeny, meeny, miny, mo with human lives. Hearing that, all the students panic and start running for their lives. But before anyone even reaches the door, the demon starts calling out names one by one, and with each name, another student falls lifeless to the ground. The classroom turns into chaos in seconds. Xiao stands frozen at the back of the room, trembling in fear as it fully sinks in that demons have actually appeared at his school. Everyone who tried to escape through the door is already gone. He quickly looks toward the window, thinking it might be his only chance to survive. His mind goes blank, and he admits that his body won't stop shaking. He knows he has to decide fast. understanding that if he takes too much time, the demon might call out his name like the other students. His eyes then fall on Lin, who's shaking just like him. Reacting instantly, he debates if he should escape alone or try to save her too. For the first time in his life, he acts without overthinking. He stretches out his hand toward Lin and calls her name, telling her they can't go through the door and must jump out the window together. Hearing that, Lin immediately starts running toward him. But before she can reach him, the demon suddenly calls out both their names. Everything turns dark for Xiao. His last memories are of the desperate scene, the screams, the blood, the fear, before he dies. Then, suddenly, he feels something solid beneath him. He gasps and opens his eyes, shocked to find he's still alive. As he looks up, he sees Lin in front of him again, smiling and praising her perfume, just like before. A second later, as Lin glances back at Xiao and greets him with a cheerful, "Good morning," he freezes. Wait a sec, he's alive? Man thought he got a one-way ticket to heaven, but turns out it was just a round trip. He looks around, coming to the quick conclusion that everything's the same as before, and wonders if he somehow went back to the moment before that demon appeared. Before he can even process it, a glowing blue screen suddenly pops up in front of him like some random game notification. The screen reads that Zhao has obtained a skill called Deduce the Future. It also says that the demonstration has just ended and the skill can now be activated. The message explains that the ability lets him see up to 10 minutes into the future, but it costs 10 spirit points per use. Zhao stares blankly at the screen, totally confused, trying to figure out what this deduce the future thing even means. He wonders if everything that happened earlier was just part of the demonstration, and questions if he's the only one who can see the screen. Glancing around, he notices that the other students don't seem to see anything at all. Slowly, a thought crosses his mind. Maybe he can now test out every option, just like choosing between bread and crepe. The idea makes him grin. With this power, he can find the best outcome from countless possibilities. As long as he keeps deducing the next 10 minutes, the truth finally clicks, he might finally have a way to change his fate. Without wasting a single second, Xiao activates his Deduce the Future skill. The glowing screen flashes in front of him saying skill activated, entering deduction mode. Bro feels like he just hit start on a cosmic simulator. As soon as the message appears, he jumps up and shouts at the top of his lungs. He yells that demons are about to appear and tells everyone to run for their lives. However, all the students just look at Zhao in confusion and decide to ignore him. Standing before the class, he warns them again that a demon is coming soon, through the door, to be exact, and asks everyone to escape through the window with him. Tien, Lin's friend, whispers nervously to her, saying she's scared and can't understand what Xiao is even trying to do. Lin, equally puzzled, says she has no clue either and adds that Xiao is acting super weird. Taking that in, Xiao grits his teeth, understanding that no one believes him. He knows waiting until the demon actually appears will be too late for anyone to escape. He has to act fast, or the demon might just take every student's life, just like last time. Suddenly, the air turns cold as the demon appears right behind Xiao, exactly like before. The creature grins and announces that he will begin the poll, calling the first name Tian. Xiao freezes, his heart pounding as it hits him that, once again, he has failed to protect himself and everyone else. A moment later, the glowing screen flashes again, saying that his Deduce the Future skill has ended and the deduction mode is now over. In a blink, Xiao is pulled back into reality, right before the demons appear. Frustrated, he slams his fist on the desk and coughs to the side, muttering that the gross smell of blood and that horrifying scene still feel way too real. Bro's basically experiencing a virtual reality horror game without paying a single penny. On the other hand, his sudden cough catches Lin's attention. She glances back and notices something off about him, wondering why he's acting so strange. Meanwhile, Zhao glances to his side and sees a student dozing off peacefully. That sight sparks an idea. If he can't convince everyone to run before the demon arrives, maybe he can stop the demon from entering at all. He figures that if he blocks the classroom door long enough, his classmates might see the gate appearing inside the school and figure out what's happening. Noticing this, he thinks that the students will escape through the windows before the creature breaks in. Without wasting a second, he reactivates his Deduce the Future skill and bolts toward the door. In his rush, he bumps into a boy who immediately stands up angrily and asks why Xiao is sprinting like there's a demon chasing him, which, ironically, isn't that far from the truth. Ignoring him completely, Xiao rushes ahead, slams the door shut, and braces his full weight against it. His mind races. As long as he can hold this door, maybe everyone else can live. But then, something unexpected happens. The gate appears again just like the last time, but this time, the demon doesn't enter the classroom. Instead, he stands right outside, his voice echoing through the corridor. The demon calmly announces that he is now starting the roll call, and just like before, the first name he speaks is Tian. A chilling silence follows, and once again, Tian loses her life exactly the same way as before. His Deduce the Future skill abruptly ends, and Xiao realizes in shock that even if the door is closed, the demon's voice still passes through, meaning anyone who hears the roll call dies anyway. Bro's patience officially hits rock bottom. He silently screams in his head that he can't take this nonsense anymore. Living the same nightmare on repeat feels like being stuck in the scariest horror movie. He slumps onto the desk, trembling with fear and anger. Even though he knows it's just a deduction, the scenes, the deaths, and the suffocating fear all feel painfully real. His breathing turns heavy, but then a thought strikes him. He wonders about his own choices, questioning why is he even risking his life for others. He figures he could simply save himself instead of trying to be the class hero. After all, none of these people are his close friends. They wouldn't die for him, and honestly, he doesn't even remember half their names. He rests his hands on the desk, lost between survival instinct and conscience, trying to decide what's right. Without warning, a soft, refreshing fragrance fills the air. Lin steps closer and gently places her hand on his shoulder. She looks at him with concern and asks if he's okay, saying he seems unwell. Before Xiao can respond, Tian stands up and says he looks terrible, offering to inform the school nurse about his condition. She even suggests getting him some medicine. Soon other students also notice him. One boy, leaning back with a cigarette in his hand, chuckles and says that from the way Xiao's breathing heavily, it looks like he ate something that didn't agree with him. The boy, still puffing his cigarette like the cool mafia of the school, even suggests that Xiao skip class and get some rest. He says that if the teacher calls Xiao's name later, he'll reply for him. Bro clearly doesn't realize he just said the exact words from Zhao's nightmare. Hearing that phrase, Zhao recalls the demon's words, reply to the roll call. Remembering that, Xiao freezes, a chill running down his spine. His face turns pale as he remembers the demon's voice saying the exact same thing. Man's about to lose it! The coincidence is too cursed to be funny anymore. He remembers the first time he sacrificed his escape just to help Lin instead of jumping alone. Taking a deep breath, he closes his eyes and activates his Deduce the Future skill once again. And as usual, the demon appears. Xiao quickly thinks that maybe if he strikes the demon first, instead of waiting for the creature to make the first move, he might have a chance to save everyone. The demon steps into the room and announces the start of the roll call, but before it can say more, Zhao grabs a chair and charges at him with everything he's got. However, this time the demon does something unexpected. Instead of calling Tian's name, he calls Zhao. Before Zhao can even reach him, his head bursts apart like every other time. The screen flashes, showing that his spirit points drop by 12 instead of 10, leaving him with only 125 out of 157. Reading that notification, Xiao figures out that the more painful or hopeless his death is, the more spirit points get consumed. Breathing heavily, he tries to calm himself, telling his mind to think before acting again. Once he exits deduction mode, he decides to try evacuating everyone in order. But when he reactivates the deduction and the demon appears again, he fails once more. The next time, the demon calls Tian's name first, like always, but this time it's suddenly followed by Xiao's name, leaving him totally speechless and hopeless. Poor guy can't catch a break. Xiao tries again and fails, his brain now more tangled than earphones in a pocket. He starts thinking that the demon might be following some strange pattern, but figuring it out feels harder than solving math without a calculator. He keeps losing spirit points, sometimes 10, sometimes 20, depending on how he dies each time. In the end, he's left with just 1 point out of 157. Standing there, exhausted, he gets a system notification saying he's drained all his spirit points and Deduce the Future will now forcibly end. Suddenly, a familiar, refreshing scent reaches him. He turns around, half guessing it's Lin, and he's right. Lin walks up and gently pats his shoulder. Xiao's eyes instantly catch the perfume bottle in her hand, and he feels a spark of excitement. He silently thinks that maybe, just maybe, this is his key to defeating the demon. After all, he's out of spirit points and only has one last chance left to save everyone. As soon as Lin moves ahead and sits on her bench, Xiao suddenly slams his desk and stands up. According to his deduction, there are only about 30 seconds left before the demon crashes into the classroom and wipes everyone out. Without wasting a second, he yells that, "There's an earthquake!" The whole class freezes. Some kids look shocked, while others look like they just won the excuse lottery to skip class. Lin stares at her friend Tian, wondering if there's really an earthquake. However, Tian looks as confused as every other student in the class. Xiao, in the meantime, starts his mental countdown, praying his act doesn't flop harder than a bad TikTok prank. Some students whisper that they did feel some shaking. Xiao thinks that he can't tell them demons are coming, just like he did the first time he used his Deduce the Future skill. He knows that if he does that again, no one would believe him, so he sticks to his earthquake lie. It's perfect because nobody can instantly prove it wrong. He rushes to the front of the class, and as he passes Lin's desk, he quickly picks up her perfume bottle from the bench, leaving both girls completely puzzled. Still running, he turns back and announces that the exit is too far away and it'll take too long. He urges everyone to jump out of the window instead, saying it's their only chance to live. Some students ignore Zhao's warning, but a few actually believe him and rush toward the window. Zhao encourages them again, saying it's only the second floor and nothing serious will happen. Deep inside, he feels relieved. If it were any higher, no one would have listened to him this easily, and the class would have called him a maniac for asking them to jump out of the window. One of the chill students still sits on his bench like he's in a beach resort, casually pulling out a cigarette and matchstick. He jokes that the more Xiao shouts about an earthquake, the more it actually feels like the floor is shaking, but he still doesn't move an inch. Bro's calm level is off the charts, like he's auditioning for a too cool to care meme. Xiao spots him and dashes over to snatch the matchstick, knowing he needs to make as many students jump outside as possible before the demon barges in. The guy looks confused and asks if Xiao has some demon chasing him, but Xiao ignores him and keeps running toward the front of the class, knowing every second counts. With only 23 seconds left before the demon appears, chaos starts spreading. Xiao reaches the front of the classroom while the students still remain confused about their decisions, wondering if they should actually jump out of the window or not. Reacting to the panic, Tian glances at Lin and asks if it's really an earthquake. Lin doesn't waste time talking and discussing it. She just says they should run since their lives are at stake. Xiao feels a bit relieved as more students stand up and head toward the window, but he knows it's not enough time for everyone to escape. With 20 seconds remaining, he notices a few students still sitting calmly. One of them watches the students jump out of the window and mocks them, saying they're idiots for believing it's an earthquake. He casually remains seated, saying that he refuses to believe any of this nonsense at all. Another girl is peacefully sleeping on her desk, as if the world isn't ending. Taking that in, Xiao feels frustrated, realizing that the demon is about to enter and there's no time left to trick everyone into leaving. Xiao yells at everyone to run faster, waving his arms like a madman, trying to hype them up like a coach during finals week. He knows he can still speed up the process if the students move their lazy feet and jump quicker. As a few start leaping out the window, he feels slightly relieved. At least some people listened, instead of just sitting like potatoes pretending to be brave. But his heart still pounds as he remembers that the demon is about to crash the party any second now. Suddenly, the guy with the cigarette stands up too, nervously yelling for everyone to jump one by one. Guess fear really does turn people into geniuses when it matters most. Just as another student is about to jump, he glances outside and spots the same eerie red gate forming in the sky, glowing faintly like a nightmare. Everyone freezes, staring at it in disbelief as the air grows thick and darker by the second. With only 15 seconds left, confusion turns into chaos and panic spreads like wildfire. Xiao sees them stop and quickly connects his phone to the classroom speaker, blasting a random song at full volume. The loud beats echo through the room, making even the bravest students jump in fear as they rush toward the window. With 9 seconds left, Xiao steadies his breath. This is his final chance to change fate! He lights a match, recalling all his previous failures and painful deaths. After countless tries, he finally understands the demon's pattern. With just 4 seconds remaining and the demon's heavy footsteps echoing through the hallway, Xiao tosses the lit match into Lin's perfume bottle, creating a small fiery burst. As the demon enters and opens its mouth to start the roll call, the truth hits Xiao. The demon can only attack through its roll call. Xiao hurls the flaming perfume bottle straight toward the demon, and boom, it lands right in its ugly mouth. Talk about perfect aim, even Counter-Strike pros would be jealous. The bottle shatters inside the demon's mouth, and its face instantly catches fire. The creature lets out a muffled screech as smoke bursts out from its throat like a burnt barbecue. Witnessing this, Lin and the remaining students freeze in shock before finally jumping out of the window one by one. Instead of escaping with them, Xiao rushes to the classroom gate and locks the door before blocking it with his body. He cranks up the speaker volume to maximum, determined to drown out the demon's deadly voice at any cost. This time, he knows he can finally save everyone, unlike all those previous times when he failed. As the last student jumps out, Xiao feels a spark of relief, but just as he's about to leave, his vision blurs, his eyelids grow heavy, and dizziness hits him like a truck. It dawns on him that his brain can't handle any more strain. His spirit points are almost gone, and the demon starts slamming the door violently, each hit shaking the room. Xiao stumbles toward the window, trying to escape, but his steps grow slower. With just one spirit point left, regret fills his mind. He feels frustrated, thinking that maybe if he hadn't tried to play hero and had focused on saving himself, he could have survived. His hands tremble as his eyes begin to shut, and with a fading breath, he silently wishes that if he ever gets another chance, he'll find a way to protect everyone and himself. A moment later, a hand reaches out towards Xiao. Finally, some plot twist. It's none other than Lin, the class's calm queen, who pulls him up like a pro lifeguard. She puts his arm over her shoulder and helps him limp toward the window. Xiao can barely walk straight, looking like a drunk zombie, but somehow they both manage to jump out and land safely. For a second, he actually smiles. Finally, he takes a deep breath, feeling proud that he saved everyone this time. And that is a wrap for episode 1. If you made it this far and dropped that emoji in the comments, you are an absolute legend. Smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe so you do not miss episode 2, and I will catch you in the next one.